Well, Happy New Year, people. We're starting off the new year right with some jazz, of course. And don't forget, we are recording tonight, so make your presence known. Well, we got some what I call the A-tier musicians tonight, as Brian tends to do. And without further ado, let's start to bring these people out. Let's bring out the rhythm section first. Behind me, Mr. Paul Marchetti. Paul. Piano here. It's there for a reason. Mr. Jeff Hellmer. For the bass, Mr. Dave Gabriel. And guy that has won critical acclaim. It's got about 15 different releases out. Contemporary smooth jazz award winner for the year in Canada and various other places. Yeah, they got great musicians out of Canada, you know? Come on. A guy by the name of Oscar Peterson, you know? But he's here, and to me it's ironic that a horn player is named Gabriel. Now, I'm just saying. Folks, put a great round of applause for our headline, Mr. Gabriel Mark Hasselbach.
Let's get our stuff plugged in here.
He got most of that right. I'm from Denver. We're gonna have some fun tonight because we're gonna play some music that's culled from the tradition. You know, jazz musicians have to honor and emulate the traditional jazz that's out there, but they also have to try and create something new and enjoy the funkiness of jazz, not just the swinginess. So we're gonna do a little bit of both. We're gonna divide it up into two sets and get kind of lay the vintage stuff on you a little bit first, and then get funky. So we're gonna have a good time. So for about 5 years I was Kihei here. So it's great to come back. Well, that sounds weird, but I got to spend a lot of time here and played the Maui Jazz Festival in 2016 and did some other stuff here. So it's like an old home week for me. And Paul and I played a concert at the MAC in 2000, which was recorded by Jazz Alley TV and aired on BET in I don't know, 42 countries or something. So Paul and I go way back, and Dave was on the in 2016 was on the jazz Maui Jazz show, and Jeff I just met tonight. Got off the plane and just figured, well, let's just do it, you know. This is a tune I wrote called Jonah's Joint, and it's an homage to Jonah Jones, the trumpet player. 1, 2, 3. That's a pretty good opener, don't you think? Maybe we should play a fast one now. Let's do Mona. So we like to dig into the past because that's where all the good stuff is, right? And you know, there's all kinds of classic players out there that they've never died. I mean, musically never died. You hear Miles Davis, Horace Silver, Clifford Brown, everything. You hear that today, and that's what, 70, 80 years ago in some cases. So unlike the music of today, which could be Cardi B or something, I don't think you're going to be hearing that in 60 years, you know what I'm saying? So we want to honor the great musicians, and one of those musicians that seems to come around time and time again, he probably undersung in a lot of ways, but is Horace Silver. And Horace Silver made this song famous, even though Bobby Timmons wrote it. Yeah, Bobby Timmons had his own version, but Horace Silver seemed to have brought it into the stratosphere. This is called Moanin'. So while we're talking about the Masters, I'll give a little bit of a story here. Well, first of all, how many people know who Jeff Lorber is? Some? Lots? Okay, some. He's kind of the granddaddy of contemporary jazz. He's not that old, but he is the granddaddy because he really started, and he started big time, and he led the whole movement. He and Grover Washington and those guys, same era, right? And Jeff's still relevant today. He's got a new album out. He must have about 50 albums out. He's so good. But anyway, I had a chance to work with him on 3 different albums, and he's mostly contemporary, although he's worked with, Jeff's worked with other guys. And we got to talking about how can we put a different spin on the Kissed by the Sun album that we did together in 2012. And we talked about the lyricism of Chet Baker. And Chet Baker is one of my favorites. I've never been somebody who either appreciated listening to or able to play what I would call vertical jazz or something like that. Just when the New Lions came in and in the 90s and stuff, I wasn't really there. But I'll tell you, Chet Baker, his lyricism stayed for years and years and years, and it stays in our consciousness all the time. So anyway, back to the story. When we did this album, we were looking for one more piece of the puzzle. So we looked at Hank Mobley. Now, do you know who Hank Mobley is? Sax player. Late 50s, early 60s. He was kind of the king of the sax for a long time. He wrote a song called Funk in Deep Freeze. Now, I don't know. I think funk meant something different than more like, I'm so blue, I don't know what to do. You don't know how to move. I think that's what that means. Anyway, he did his version, which is really good. And when Chet Baker was trying to make his comeback in the 80s, he enlisted Bob James, Hubert Laws, Steve Gadd, and somebody else is well known, to recreate that song with Chet Baker and a little more of a contemporary flair. Now, if you know Bob James, he does straight ahead and he does, funky jazz. He does all kinds of stuff. Anyway, that version, I thought Chet was kind of lame, to be honest. He was on his end of his career. Drugs are still addling him. But it gave me the idea just to try and make a version of that song that should be the way I'd like to hear it, and I hope you like hearing it too. So this is my version of Funk in Deep Freeze. Boy, that was a long story, wasn't it? One, two, 3, 4. The mute's kind of sexy, don't you think? All right, so I play other instruments, and the reason I started that is years ago I was practicing the trumpet and trying to play high notes, and this book came out called Double High C in 37 Weeks. That seems to be like the golden ticket for trumpet players, how high you can play, Maynard Ferguson and all that stuff. And this book was built around the way weightlifters do. They go for a period lifting heavy weights and not, and then leaving a lot of rest between it, and then they go for a period of doing smaller weights and doing lots of repetitions and stuff like that. So that was how it was designed to help build your face. And during that time, I just got bored, so I picked up the flute and started playing. That was years ago. And so I've been playing the flute for a long time, too, and I think in a lot of ways the flute's even more fun than anything. So anyway, here's a tune that I wrote with Jeff Lorber again, and this one pays a little bit of an homage to James Moody, who's probably the most undersung, but one of the best damn flute players ever come out of anywhere. He's known for sax playing, but he's such an amazing flute player. But we put a Latin spin on this one, and this has got a Brazilian feel. It's called, what is this called? Recife. Recife is like the Kauai of Brazil, the garden isle, of garden city of Brazil. So anyway, Recife. One, two, 3, 4.
How about that piano solo?
Now, I should mention that along with the guys that were just jazzers, there's guys that were crossover that did jazz tunes that were usable for jazz, for the pop radio, for Broadway shows, and that music lives on too. And I'm speaking about Cole Porter. So there's another tune that's on Mid-Century Modern Volume 3, which is out there in the lobby. Just a classic. It's called, now it's not a very original title, I have to admit, but he wrote it in the 30s. It's called I Love You. You wouldn't get away with that these days, you know what I'm saying? What? What? Thank you so much. Now, we were talking about unsung heroes and stuff. Did you catch the George Shearing quote that you did? You got it that Jeff was doing? How many people know who George Shearing is? All righty. We're on a roll here. Let's do La Samba. It was a pleasant surprise to, not only to come back and see my former friends, but to make a new one tonight. And you've seen him around the island, I'm sure. He came to the island to retire and just play a little bit of music, and he's living the dream. Paul Marchetti going to take this into the... keep it kind of a Latin vibe right now. Here's another tune that's on Mid-Century Modern Volume 3. This is called Nutville, another Horace Silver tune. We like Horace. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Years ago, when I first came to Maui, I was sitting on my lanai early in the morning, and there was a rainbow in the sky. The clouds were black on one side. You could see the sun on the other side, and a mist was coming down, and it inspired me to write a song called Maui Rain. And I had kind of a hit with it here on the island and in the U.S., and we're going to do it tonight. I have not played this song for years, so we're going to give it a little spin around the block. But have you ever you've obviously experienced that, just where you don't know if it's good weather, bad weather, sunny weather, wet weather, dry weather, but you know the rainbow is there to pin it all down. Paul and I played that at the Mac for our concert for a while. And there's another guy on the island here, plays keys, George Tavilaris. Anybody know him? Yeah, George played with us on that one, on that show too. So here's a song called Carte Blanche. You can imagine what that means. What I'm thinking it means is you're scooting down the highway. This isn't on Maui, by the way. You're scooting down the highway, heading for the outlet store across the border. The top's down. The CD player is blasting. And you know what it's playing, of course. And you've got a black American Express unlimited card in your back pocket. So this is you going down the highway, burning a hole in your pocket, and you got the carte blanche. Here's a song that co-wrote with another Maui resident here, Rock Hendricks. Do you know that name? Yeah. Rock lives up country, plays sax. He's got his own album out. He's quite talented. We, when I was back here in the day, we wrote some songs together, and this is one that I put on my Cool Down album. And it gets so much airplay. It's probably one of my most played songs, and it's just always fun to have on the stage. Called Mulberry Street. You know what Mulberry Street is, right? That's that Farmers Market Street in New York. Okay, so here it is, Mulberry Street. Go. Are you feeling it? We're going to let him start the tune off. This is called Si Bonita. Going to take you down to Argentina. Paul's got the groove, so we like to let him start. He inspires us. So this next song was actually my very first Billboard hit, and it was on the Told You So album, and that album won Album of the Year at the Canadian Smooth Jazz Awards, and that same year I also won Instrumentalist of the Year, and I think it was rigged or something, but I got it anyway. But the song was inspired from being on the road, and after a gig, going to a late night barbecue house. Now, does anybody know anything about Kansas City? Anybody? Okay, there's two Kansas Cities on the border. One's on the Missouri side, and one's on the Kansas side, of course. And one is nifty and nice, and the other is gritty and greasy, right? So we were on the Kansas City side, and we were having the best barbecue I think I ever had. Of course, I had a few drinks, so it seemed that way anyway. And the place was just roaring. You couldn't hear yourself talk, and people were eating and drinking and laughing. And so this song is called Rockin' the Rib Joint. All right, here's a song called Tempting Fate, and this is on my First Name Basis album. Now, this song, we played at Maui Jazz Festival in 2016. And we weren't, it was on the list, but we kind of thinking, oh, maybe not, I don't know. But you know something, the song is so different from everything else that we do. We just thought, you know, if you play it nice, you play it hard, and you give the audience a taste of what the title means, Tempting Fate, that you'll probably appreciate it. So here it goes. Tempting Fate. I actually spent a lot of time down in New Orleans too. I had a little condo down there and got to play with all the local guys that were killing it. One time I thought maybe I could make a career down there, but there's just too many good guys. There's just no way. Same like going to New York. There's no way you're going to make a dent in that place. There's just too much tradition, too many great players. And so I had a good time. I had it for a couple of years and got to play with really good people. And I wrote this one song called Coming Home for Mardi Gras, and it's on Mid-Century Modern Volume 1. And I think you might like it. It's good. We're going to feature Paul with a second line kind of groove. Second line is kind of the marching band thing they use for funerals and celebrations, and that's the basis of this song. And we're just going to have some fun with it. And if you feel like making noise, this is the tune to do it on. This is going to be our last tune of the night. Thanks.
Are you feeling it? Well, my bags are packed and I'm ready to go. We're down south to the place I know. We're gonna boogie down on Bourbon Street. Down in New Orleans, coming home from Mardi Gras. I said I don't care if the sun don't shine. Gonna have myself a good time. Going jazzing down on Frenchman Street. Down in New Orleans, coming home from Mardi Gras. I'm gonna get on the big parade. Eat crawfish and corn in the middle of the day. Yeah, gonna second line down on Rampart Street. Down in New Orleans, coming home from Mardi Gras. I'm gonna grab a beignet and a catfish fillet. Flop it on down on a red hot skillet. Yeah, gonna swing it down on Basin Street. Down in New Orleans, coming home from Mardi Gras. Come on, guys, let's blow. My bags are packed, I'm ready to go. Way down south to the place I know. We're gonna boogie down on Bourbon Street. Down in New Orleans, coming home from Mardi Gras. I'm gonna get on the big parade. Eat crawfish and corn in the middle of the day. Gonna second line down on Rampart Street. down in New Orleans coming home. Tomorrow, hey guys, let's play some Dixieland.
Laissez le bon temps brûler!
I want to remind everybody, just keep supporting the arts. It's Maui's really grown a lot since I was here last, and the vibe is great, the musicians are great, the art's great, the other productions and theater and all that stuff is just fantastic. So keep on doing what you're doing. Lee, do you want to say something to the people here?
Well, yeah, I mean, finished. I would hate to see this party end, man. First one of the year, but let me do this. It's really nice working and seeing A-list musicians. And on this island, there's a big difference. Trust me on that. So, Paul Marchetti, drums. Mr. Dave Graber, bass. Jeff Hellmer, piano. Hellmer. And let me do this. Let me apologize to a trumpet player named Gabriel. You never know.
You never know.
And the great state of Colorado. I was caught up in a plot by the Canadians for they were trying to steal you. But everybody put some hands together for Gabriel, Mark, Hasselbach.
All right, everybody.
Be kind to your neighbors. Remember, we need all the loving we can get in this world these days.
At this point, well, first of all, my name is Lee Norris, Jazz Metropolis. Catch me on Mana'o Radio, 91.7 FM, and we stream worldwide.
What time's your show?
8 to midnight, every Monday. And we play George Shearing,
Yeah.
Horace Silver. Come on, folks, I know you've heard of Horace Silver. If you don't, you need to tune in.